Hey friends, welcome back to another video. I do have to talk very quietly because Archie is just going down for a nap. If you guys didn't know, we don't have like regular doors on these two rooms. It's just this like sliding door with huge gaps on the side, so there is just no soundproofing whatsoever. And to everyone who has said just make noise when he's sleeping because he'll get used to it, trust me you guys, we've tried. The only time that he'll sleep through noise is if he falls asleep with the noise happening, not after he's started sleeping. And unfortunately I could not put my face together fast enough, and you're crooked. Okay, so today is a video that I have been saying that I'm gonna do for weeks, and that is my anthurium favorites video. I was waiting for a lot of emergent leaves to harden off, and then in true Sherman fashion, I fudged things up last minute. So a few days ago, I just did a little spray, a little spritz, if you will, of Captain Jack's Dead Bug Brew about 10 minutes before my lights were gonna go off. And I knew I should have just turned them off, but I was like, you know what, it's 10 minutes, what is that gonna do? It absolutely destroyed so many of these emergent leaves that I wanted to show you. Let me kind of give you an example of what it does when you have lights blasting on it when it's wet. This was one of the ones that I wanted to show you. This is my AOS Carla, and this leaf was hardening off at the time and it just like melted it, and it looks so bad. So there's like there's like maybe 5 plants that I was going to show you in this video that I am no longer going to show you because they all look like this and a lot worse. There were 2 that I just had to completely cut the leaves off. So learn from me, don't be lazy, and just turn your lights off. What is this on my plant? Oh, is that pollen? Okay, I don't know what that is. We're not gonna worry about that. It was really hard to narrow down the ones I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you like a good array of them, like not have them all be like crystallinum looking or AOS looking, but I just pulled the ones that spoke to me. So we're just gonna get started. I had originally pulled 10 for you, but I snuck in 11. I snuck in an 11th one. So let's just start going down the list. The first one I'm going to show you is very, very special to me. This is the latest hybrid that I did with Miss Alice of You Don't Even Grow Here. This one is a red crystal port KOS. My red crystal port is right there. It's actually so nice to have this plant shelf back here so I can just show you plants that I'm talking about. It's this guy. It's not like you wouldn't look at that plant and think like, oh my god, it's an amazing plant. But I will say that this specimen specifically, it's one of those plants that you just come to like, you appreciate more and more as time goes on. And it's like one of my favorites now, mostly for the texture. And I was hoping that like one of these seedlings would take the texture. So far, none of them have, but I just think the KOS genes are so strong. But this batch was so tiny. I think I got 7 viable or 7 germinated seeds out of all of them. So I have 3, Alice has 2, and then our friend Dania has 2. But this is one of them. I would show you the other 2, but they're cute, but this one is by far my favorite and the strongest out of the 3 of them that germinated for me. But look at this one. Oh my gosh, I love it. I mean, guys, it looks like a KOS, right? Like this is just a KOS, but I think the leaf shape is a bit different. It doesn't, I mean, I guess it kind of resembles the red crystal port leaf shape, but it also just looks very KOS. And I feel like the King of Spades, HU Hajiuli, I think they are one of the anthurium that have just very strong DNA in terms of when they're hybridized with another plant. Like their genes just come through so strong, no matter if it's the seed parent or the pollen parent. Another plant that is a good example of that is the Lux, which is why so many Lux hybrids just look like a Lux. So many Lux hybrids look like a Lux. But yeah, the KOS genes were just so strong on this, and honestly, all of the seedlings that came out of this batch in me and Alice's, I don't really know what Dania's looks like right now, but they all just look very KOS. I don't see a lot of the red crystal port, honestly. I think if anything, maybe a little bit of the color, but I would say that the color looks all like it's very similar to a KOS anyway. They're like almost the same color. So yeah, this one is my favorite one. I love this emergent color. It's like this kind of orangey reddish color. I like how the venation on this looks really, really clean and crisp. It's not really bleedy like a lot of the KOS plants that you see on the market right now. It's just really, really tight. It's really fine and it's just beautiful. So I am really excited to see how all three of them kind of turn out to look like. I don't know if I'm gonna be selling anytime soon, at least not until one, I can take butt cuts of all of them, and two, Alice gives me the okay. She's like my manager, so I seek her approval first. But yeah, this is my favorite one that came out of that batch. Okay, the next few are gonna be really small plants. This one's very special to me. This one is my carlablackiae Woo One Self. I got this one as a cutting from Alice. And a new Carla leaf, that's where the magic is. I mean, obviously hardened off Carla leaves are beautiful, but I just like, it's always extra bright when it's emergent. I don't know if it's because the leaf is still light in color, but oh my gosh, it's just so, so beautiful. Why is it so bright? I feel like it's kind of washing the plants out a bit. I'm gonna throw in Alice's plant. So this is a clone of that plant. I did show it recently on a collab, or in a collab video that I did with her. It was like Alice's, my favorite anthurium in Alice's collection. And it's definitely one of my favorites in her collection, like of all time. Every time I go there, that's like the focal of the tent, focal of the entire room. And it's just beautiful. I honestly, I don't have a huge desire to have multiple Carlas. I don't know why. I think, okay, I'm just gonna say this. People post all of their Carlas on like the anthurium groups, and I'm not even gonna try and throw out the names, but I'm like, it all looks the same to me. They all look so, so similar. And I do collect a lot of crystallinum, but I feel like I can at least differentiate between them a lot easier than the different Carlas. And they're so slight sometimes, and then people will give it like its own name, and I'm like, why? No shade, but I recently saw someone who like renamed two Carlas, and the reasoning I thought was so weird. And typically I don't really give a crap what people do in terms of like anthurium naming. It's just like whatever. It does get confusing, but they're like, for reasons that this person gave, I was like, don't do that. Like, it's just so confusing. So unless there was like a Carla like what's the one that, is it Paul who has it, or someone has the Carla Spider Man? No, see, that's why I shouldn't. Like when I was at Alice's house and I was like, this is a Carla NSE Carla, and I was so confident because I just felt like they look the same, but no, it's a Woo one. So unless a Carla has like a crazy different look, I probably won't want it, or I probably won't get it, just because I don't know, I don't feel the need to have multiple Carlas. I will say that I want a GPH Carla. One, it's so beautiful. I love the way the GPH Carla looks, but I mostly want it just because I love Juan and I love his cats, and I don't know, I just really like Juan, so it would just be nice to have one of his plants in my collection. So if I ever had a chance to snag one of those, I probably would jump at the opportunity to get it. But otherwise, I am more than happy with this little Carla. I feel like this Carla just looks like the perfect Carla, and it's everything that I would want in a Carla. And so I'm just really grateful to have gotten a cutting from Alice. So if you don't follow Alice, I think I threw up her handle. Please give her a follow. Her anthurium are way nicer than mine. The next plant, oh, the next two plants. The next two plants are very, very special to me. They came from another one of my favorite hybridizers, Josh. I will throw in Josh's socials here. Not only is he just an amazing friend and just so sweet and so nice and so kind, he grows amazing plants. So I was lucky enough to be sent a little care package from him back in December. Him and Pau sent me and Alice a bunch of seedlings, and they're getting so big now, and it's been nice to just see how they mature. So this first one is a Carla pap crossed with an FTG self. I got it when they were like this little, so we didn't know what any of them were gonna look like, but this plant got really, really banged up. But when this leaf came out, I knew that it was going to be good, because look at that venation. That's very, very, very Carla, heavy on the Carla. And then this is the newest leaf that came out on it, and look at that little Carla sinus. That is a Carla sinus, and I just think this is going to be a really cute one. Guys, I don't like what my camera's doing right now. It's like the lighting is all off. It's supposed to hold the exposure. Okay, I like the leaf shape of this. I like that it's really narrow. It kind of reminds me of, which plant do I have in my collection that this looks just like? Yeah, can't think of it right now, but I like that it's long and it's narrow. I hope it kind of keeps that leaf shape. It's also hard to tell, but it has this really distinct reddish outline, which I haven't seen really on many anthurium before. I think this hybrid is going to be so beautiful, so I'm excited to see how that turns out. I'm already seeing so much character in such a tiny leaf, so it's just looking very promising. And then this is another hybrid from him. So this is, or actually this one, I think this might be Pau's hybrid. So this is a Carla Pap Carla Dress RG. And don't mind the, when I was moving my plant room around, this guy got dinged up, but look at this plant, it's so good. Again, has a very Carla sinus, but then it's got this really thin, muted venation. I would say this is a very, very unique plant, and if you think all anthurium look the same, I don't blame you. I really don't. I feel like you really have to analyze anthurium and own a lot of anthurium to kind of know what I'm talking about. It's the same thing. I don't fault anyone, I don't blame anyone. To me, I think it's the same thing as when carnivorous plant enthusiasts will post different kinds of like Venus flytraps or pitcher plants, and I'll be like, they literally look all the same, but they swear it's different. So I think that's kind of how like anthurium people are with anthurium. Like, we can see those slight differences. And of all the really small anthurium that I've grown, like from seedling and seed, I'll say that this does look very unique, and it's showing a lot of potential and a lot of character in such a small plant. So I'm calling it now. I think that this one is going to be one of my favorites, and they're both actually growing really well in ambient right now. It's not doing too bad. So we're gonna keep going and see what happens. I'm glad that I took these out of ambient really, really early, because there have been some plants that I'm rehabbing right now that I kept it in a prop box a little too long, and then I took it out and the leaves just melted. And so yeah, I think I need to be better about, like, when I'm rehabbing stumps, whatever, to take it out once the first leaf pops, or else it's so much harder to acclimatize them down without losing leaves, and sometimes losing roots too. So yeah, those are my phytorot. That's what they go by, their little team name. They're so cute. These are my little phytorot hybrids, which I'm loving right now. This next hybrid is a plant from another one of my favorite growers and hybridizers. This is from Greenhues. I got three seedlings from Greenhues. Two of them are the same, one of them is different. So this one is a SKG Silver crossed with a Tezula Red Crystal crossed with a Dorayaki Self. So it's this. And I knew by this leaf right here that it was going to be so good, because look at how fluffy and round it is. It was giving Mind Flayer. But look at this new one. The Venetian is so thick and so white. Like, I cannot even explain to you guys how white it is. It's so sparkly and silver, and then it's got the cutest little pink sinus, and I can't with how adorable this is. My stomach is grumbling. I'm so hungry. I didn't eat dinner last night and I didn't eat breakfast. But I love the leaf color. It's looking like it's gonna be pretty dark. And I think with this really thick, bright Venetian, it's that contrast. It's just incredible. Now with this plant, I'm really hoping that it doesn't bleed more as it gets older. What's a good plant to show you? Not that I don't like Venetian that bleeds, but I really like how even though it doesn't have like a crisp edge, it's still tight enough that it looks cleaner. Opposed to something like, I'm not sure if this is the best example to show you. This is one of my King of Spades. But like, do you guys see how in this sinus area, it kind of just bleeds, like it bleeds into the rest of the plant. It gets really thick, but the rest of the Venetian is like really tight. It's just the sinus that bleeds. But sometimes you have a plant where the entire vein bleeds, and I'm kind of hoping that it doesn't do that because I'd like to keep that thin line. What's a good, oh here. This one has like really bleedy Venetian. Like, do you see how it kind of bleeds down the center there? And I don't mind like this area so much. It's like this that I would like if that plant stayed nice and crisp and tight. I have high hopes. I have high hopes, high expectations for this plant. Both of the parents looked really cute, and that's why I got this plant. No, this wasn't Green Hugh's most sought after hybrid or like the rarest one or whatever you want to call it, but I really loved both parent plants, and I just knew I was gonna love it so much. And here we are. I love it. By the way, guys, thank you so much for the incredible response to my plant room makeover. I was so sure that there were gonna be some people that were like, I don't know, I'm not gonna put the negative energy out there, but I was just pretty confident that there was gonna be a few thoughts, but it's been overwhelmingly good. And so yeah, now that I'm a few weeks in, I love it, and I don't really see it ever going back to what it was. I don't know why I would ever kind of go back that way. And yeah, hopefully we can make this room look a little bit more homey, but for now I'm really enjoying it. No. Come here, you. Come here. This next one's a bit bigger than the ones I've been showing you. So this one is a Ace of Spades crossed with a red crystallinum Wu 10. I don't know what a Wu 10 looks like, honestly. I think I could only find photos of 1 through 6, and I do think that there's 10 Wu red crystals, but for whatever reason, there's not like a photo, like there's no like infographic showing all of the Wus, but in any case, it made for a great pollen parent because it is really beautiful. It is very ace heavy, I will say, in the hardened off leaf color. The emergent color is really interesting. It's, I can't remember if the Ace of Spades has like a bronzy emergent color or like a reddish color. I have not grown enough Ace of Spades. Hello. Okay, so what is the point of these scams? Like, did I just get scammed because I picked up the phone? I don't get it. It's like, it's clearly a scam because they're like, oh, you're missing an important message. You have to pay or whatever. And then they just hang up on you. There's no like customer service that they, okay, anyway. I have not grown enough Ace of Spades leaves to remember what the emergent color is, but I would say this one is pretty, it looks like a crystallinum because a lot of crystallinum will have this like bronzy brown color. It's not like my favorite emergent color, honestly. I think that the bronzy emergent color looks the most magical on a Wendlingeri, but on plants like this, I don't like swoon for it, but I do love this hardened off leaf, and I'm loving the color of it just because it looks so ace heavy. and I'm so terrible at growing the ace, but it seems like all of my ace hybrids are doing quite well, which is really exciting. And so I kind of scratched that ace itch. Yes, the ace is beautiful, but I don't grow it well, and so I don't really think like the headache and the heartache of trying to grow it is even worth it. So once Alice rehabs it to whatever she wants it to look like, honestly, she can do whatever she wants with it. She can sell it, she can keep it. I just don't think I'm gonna be taking it back. Sorry, Alice, I just don't think I'm gonna be taking it back. But yeah, this one's growing pretty well, and this one was growing in, I had it in a prop box, and then I moved it to my EXO, and then I took it out like pretty soon after putting it into the EXO, just because I don't know, it's a pretty vigorous grower, and I just felt like this is one that would probably do well in ambient. And this one came out in ambient, and it's literally perfect. So fingers crossed, keeps, you know, going down this path. I mean, honestly, 95%, 98% of my collection is now growing in ambient. I just have whatever's in my prop boxes and whatever's in my EXO, but honestly, all of the plants in my EXO can probably come out. I'm really only keeping this EXO because I really like it, not because I need it, and I'm not there yet. I'm not ready to let it go, but I do think that time will probably come at some point, just not now. I'm not ready. Too much change in such little amount of time, and yes, change can be fun and whatever, but yeah, I get sad thinking about not having this EXO anymore. Maybe if I could, okay, here's a thought that I had last night. What if I turn this EXO into a pingdom, like just all carnivorous plants? But see, my ADHD thinks that I'm gonna be like this ping god, just like I thought I was gonna be like a Hoya god and a orchid god, but yeah, you pick up and drop things very quickly. I mean, luckily this plant hobby in general has stayed, but in terms of getting into like the very specific genus of plant, I like hyper focus on it. I like go all in, and then I just lose complete interest. So yeah, maybe we don't do that right away, but it's a thought. Okay, I do have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 more to show you, and these ones are all larger. They're not seedlings. This one is, oh, that one's on top of my that one's on top of my TV. I'll go get that later. Let's do this one first. Oh, it's flowering. Ooh, that's exciting. Maybe I can do something with Alice. So this is another woohoo plant. This is the forgetii red crystal. It was actually given to me as a forgetii X. They did not know what the pollen parent was, but it is pretty obvious what the pollen parent was. And that was always like a not an option. It was always a possibility, but I guess they weren't for sure, so they didn't want to label it as such. But I mean, this is as red crystal as it gets. I don't know if the seed parent was a silver forgetii or if it was like a dark forgetii, but if it was a dark forgetii, the forgetii genes have been completely eaten by the red crystal, because this is all red crystal. And honestly, if I can never grow any of my red crystal to look beautiful, I'm satisfied with this. To me, I don't even look at this plant and think it has forgetii in it. I could literally pass this off as just a red crystal and nobody would bat an eye. At least I wouldn't. But it's been such an amazing grower for me. I grew this from a tiny little thing. The seedling was like this small. It was the tiniest little leaf. And I think this has been like the easiest plant to grow in terms of all of the plants that I got from Woohoo. It's been the easiest crystallinum to grow out of all of the crystals I have in my collection, and it's done so well in ambient. The only reason that this leaf looks like that is because this was living in my big EXO, the big EXO I used to have. It was growing up against the back of the glass and it got absolutely shredded. But otherwise, like, look how many leaves it's held on to. Like, all of them are pretty perfect, not perfectly formed, but like fully formed. No major rips or tears or anything. So much of my collection, if you look in the back, have holes in it and just like munched leaves because it just doesn't like unfurl well in ambient. But yeah, this one is great. I love this plant so much, and it has such a beautiful emergent leaf. And one thing that I really love about red crystals is that the emergent leaves take so long to harden off, so you really get to enjoy this really purpley color for a long time too. And I love that the abaxials, the venation on the abaxials stay like this nice purpley color. I wish that the abaxials stayed purple on the fully like hardened, like the older leaves, but it eventually fades away. But otherwise, this is like one of my prized gals right now. I just hope that it continues growing really well. I am really excited to see an inflorescence. There are a lot of people, like friends included, that don't ever try to do anything with the first inflow because it's said to usually be pretty weak. It like produces like a weak inflow as a mother, or produces like weak pollen. But I've had pretty good luck in terms of pollinating the first inflow, so I think it really just depends. I don't know if I would want to mother this plant or if I want to just use it as a pollen parent, but it would be so, I would love to self this plant. I would be so happy if it gave me another inflow. Sometimes, actually, oh wait, that looks, no, I thought it was pushing another inflow. I thought she was trying to self, but she's not. I don't really have anything super exciting happening right now. I do have this one that's pushing an inflow, and I think it's, oh, that doesn't go there. And this is also one of my favorite plants, and every time I post it on socials, people are always like, what plant is that? Tell me now. So this is my, I always forget, Fort Sherman Ralphinum crossed with a Dressleri Carla, and this plant, it just speaks for itself. It's amazing. I don't know why I didn't include this in my favorites, but yeah, it's an amazing plant. I was a little bit nervous because this new leaf looks so wide, and I was really hoping it would keep this nice skinny leaf, and it kind of looks like the new leaf is going to be a lot more narrow than the last one was. But Alice wants to hybridize both of our plants because she has one of these too. Not a clone, it's from the same seed batch. So unless the timing of that does not work out, I will maybe throw this pollen onto my forgetii red carla, my forgetii red crystal. I don't really know what that would produce. I really don't know. I don't know, but I don't know, could be interesting. Another plant I would really love to hybridize this with is maybe a king of spades, or a, what is another one? Maybe just a red crystal. I just love a good red crystal. So this one is a KOS red crystal. This is one of my newer imports, and I love this. Oh my gosh. I think I got a really good one. I like the leaf shape. It's like a nice little oval. I like to try and switch it up into, like, if I can pick the specimen that I want from an importer or like in a group order. I have a very round KOS. I have a very like bleedy KOS, and so if I had another opportunity to like import another KOS, I would get one that looks totally different. So you know what's funny is I have another Herc, that's what it's called, HU crossed with RC. That's a KOS. Where's my Herc? Oh, I sold it. Why did I do that? Look at this sinus. Oh, this one actually would be a good one to cross with. If this one pushed an inflow and I used the pollen from my forgetii red crystal, I think that would be really fun. But this, I've never actually had a plant before that had such like gray, white, bright venation, and this like cotton candy pink vein. I mean, obviously I have a lot of plants with pink venation, but like not anything like this. Like, this is incredible. That is wild, and it's so tight. The sinus is so tight. Let me show you some of the other leaves. It's got that just really bright sinus. It showed a pretty bright sinus from its younger leaves too, but I initially didn't, I don't think I picked, I can't remember like the feature that I saw that made me want to pick this one, but I want to say that it was probably the leaf shape, because it just had like a pretty unique leaf shape. It wasn't super like wide or round like many hercs are. And yeah, I think this is going to be a really fun one to breed with. I would want to use it as a mother though, because it would be really great to keep these features like as like the dominant features, and then just take some features that you want from, don't look at my butt, from a pollen parent. Okay, the last two plants are plants that I got from my sweet friend Rose, aka Plant Babe. This one I was so stinking excited about. When she sent it to me, I was like, Rose, I know you're lying. And that is the Mind Slayer. Just kidding, it's called a Mind Flayer, but I call it the Mind Slayer. Let me show you what the parent looks like. This is not a clone, this is a self seed. So just based on what I'm seeing now in my plant and what I'm seeing from other people that I've seen like post their mind flayers, I don't think that it's going to be as green, as crisp, and did I say clean? Green, clean, and crisp. I don't think it's gonna be green, clean, and crisp as the parent plant. But I do think that this center, like the, you know, the, what do they call it? Pterodactyl? No, not pterodactyl. There was a word that they were using to describe trivane, trivane. Why am I on YouTube? It obviously has 3 very prominent veins, and that is, yeah, she's flaying and she's slaying. And I was kind of hoping that this new leaf would have been open and ready to serve you for this video, but alas, she's not. But I've been just, guys, whenever a new leaf comes out on this one, I'm like this. I'm really, really excited to see this one mature. I'm hoping that it keeps this like really bright center vein. It's looking really, really good. I am ending it with a plant that has made me so happy for a very long time. So this one is my AOS Dark Form crossed with the Fort Sherman Rufflinum. I love this plant. I feel like this is the plant that is going to make me not ever miss having an Ace of Spades. It looks very ace heavy, but it does have like Fort Sherman Rufflinum venation in terms of the color. I will say one thing I am slightly disappointed about, which I'm hoping that it comes back, is prior to this leaf, I was obsessed with the bubbliness and the texture. Like, look at how crazy that looks. And it was on all of the leaves. It was a very, very consistent trait from a young plant. And then it just, it smoothed out. I mean, it's still very, like, you can tell a little bit, but it's certainly not as textured and pebbly as like this leaf. But look at the sheen on this, you guys. Like, this is wild. And I moved this to my my living room. If you saw last week, I posted my living room makeover, and it's now living on top of my TV. And like the Soltec track lights are right there. And guys, when it hits this plant, I'm not gonna give up hope just yet, but I'm really hoping that more of that bubbly texture comes back. If not, it's fine. This plant is just so good. It's got the most beautiful leaf shape, perfect little sinus, nice, clean, crisp venation. I've been saying that a lot. And yeah, it just has everything that I love in like a dark anthurium. It's grown so much in what I felt to be a pretty short amount of time. I feel like this is a really, really strong seedling. I typically cannot grow a leaf this size in my dry ass apartment for a long time. Like, I would have thought that it would have taken over, like well over a year to get to even this size. No, it's not like mega massive, but it's, yeah, it's a decent size, and I am very surprised. I'm surprised at how much it's grown, and I'm proud of this little guy. It's a strong little seedling. It does need a pot extender though. Honestly, a lot of my anthurium need pot extenders. What's another one? There was another plant that I showed you earlier that was like dangling in the wind. or maybe it was a plant I showed in a video yesterday, but yeah, it's dire over here in terms of the repotting situation. I am trying to find new pots. So one question I get so often on my channel is, where do I get these square pots? These ones. Let's talk about these square pots for a little bit. So I got these from Lauren at North Shore Tropicals originally, and then my friend Jing, she got like an order of them, so I restocked with her, and now you can just find them all over the place. A lot of plant shops sell them. You can find them on Amazon, but I'm gonna switch. I'm just switching. I'm gonna switch to different pots. Not that I don't like these. Okay, let's talk about the good things first about these pots. The hole size, it's decent, okay? Like especially on the sides where the root typically comes out of, it's big enough that you can usually pull it out without any breakage. Bottom one's a little dicier, but again, it's not the end of the world. I do a lot of root trimming anyway when I repot plants, but the reason that I want to switch is because it is so hard to find cover pots for these square ones. And sure, it's fine in something like this, like in the plant room, but once they get to like a bigger size, like something like this, I just lucked out with these glass pots. But again, very expensive to find these pots, or it's really hard to find pots that fit this size. And it's just, they're so tall. It's really, really hard to find a pot for it. That's the bottom line. And I'm probably not gonna switch a lot of my smaller ones, but I definitely, for all of my plants 6 inches and larger, I'm switching back to circle pots because it's just easier to find cover pots for them. And then another thing is, I really don't know why. I don't know if, I thought it would be the opposite because it's like frosted, but these plants, it's fine when it's under grow lights, but if they are exposed to any direct light, the algae is crazy. It's like black, and it's worse than on any of my just completely clear orchid pots. I don't know what it is about the frostiness of them that like makes the algae reproduce so fast. Yeah, I'm not gonna get rid of all the small ones, but definitely my larger pots, it's just way easier to find cover pots for them. And also I just find it to be cheaper than the square ones, and it's easier for me to use the Russo pot extenders, which was the main reason why I wanted to switch to circle pots for all my 6 inch and larger plants, because Russo Plant Care does not make pot extenders for 4 inch pots. I really don't have a choice but to go with the circle pots. And the reason I want to utilize more pot extenders is because I'm running out of space, and it's just not, I can't have all of these in like 8 to 12 inch pots. So my only option is to go vertical as I can go until I really do need to repot it. I can't remember where I got all of these. I think I got these ones from Jing. This is I thought I had my my tape measure. I think this is a 6 inch pot, or maybe, yeah, a 6 inch pot. And I like these because it only has these holes down at the bottom, these really, really big ones, and it is easy peasy to take roots out of this. I really don't enjoy pots that have too many little slits everywhere. It's just hard for repots. Like when you pull it out, like sometimes the root crawls back into another hole, and so you're forced to just chop that entire root off. And so I love these pots for that reason. They're soft enough that you can just easily squeeze it. So when you're doing repots, and like if you pot in glass vessels, you will know that not a huge issue, but an issue that you'll come across when you're repotting is that it's really hard to take out plants that are super root bound. But when you have pots like this where you can squeeze it and loosen everything, you can usually just like pop it out. So I like that it's soft enough to manipulate when you're repotting, but it's still, you know, firm enough that it's not gonna just crumble when you actually put the plant in. So there's that. I also have, I think this is a 5-inch pot of the same style. And then I got these from Floriculture Tropical Nursery in Sacramento. Again, love the bottom design of these. Very simple, very minimal. It has a good shape to just pull roots out. And yeah, it's a good size. So I think this diameter is also, I think it's a 7-inch. Wait, oh yeah, it says right there, 7-inch. So 7-inch, and this one is, oh, this one is 7 too. They're both 7-inch pots. Okay, cool. So I really, really love these. I also have it in a 9-inch. I'm not gonna pull it out, but I got the 7-inch and either the 9 or 10-inch from him as well. Those are the pots that I'm really gravitating toward. And then, do I have any other pots to show you? No, I don't think so. So yeah, that's my pot talk. Anyway, you guys, I feel like I'm not really good at these kinds of videos. I'm fine doing like favorites videos where I can show you like an array of plants, different genus and stuff. But when it comes to like anthurium and just comparing them, I feel like there's only so much to say. There's only so many ways to describe the way the anthurium look, and it all kind of just like mushes into one. I don't know, it just becomes a little bit, what word am I thinking of? Not monotonous. It becomes really redundant. So yeah, I'm not the best person to do an anthurium favorites video, but I hope that you enjoyed seeing some of the ones that have been making me really happy right now. So anywho guys, that is going to be it for me today. Please don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you liked it. That is my stomaching again. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next one.